Welcome back to the Tahoe Real Estate Show. You might recognize this gentleman to my left here. He also does some of our home improvement tips. General contractor Jeff Grell from Grell Construction. Jeff, Mother Nature's finally relenting, right?
Yeah, well, looks like we're coming into summer now, Pete. We just had our last snow, and now we're melting, and it's getting nice out.
I've had a chance to talk to you about the construction and building process, especially the permitting process, right? So here in Tahoe, it's not an overnight deal, right? You can't say, call up Jeff, hey Jeff, you know, it's Friday, can you start a project on Monday?
Well, in an old world, perhaps, but in this day and age, if you don't do your homework, and say you start your project, you've got it all ready to go, and you think you're just going to do it, there's more to it than that. Permits are really important.
Mm-hmm. All right, so when you permit a house properly, right, you save yourself from the risk of getting fines, right? Or even worse, possibility of a red tag. So what does it mean when a building inspector red tags your property?
Well, red tag means that you have to stop work. Everything stops until you if you don't have a permit, you have to go get a permit. And sometimes you even have to tear stuff back down that you put together in the first place because it was done properly or may not have been built to the standards that the inspector wants to see.
Last summer this time, we were talking about the inspection process, right? So they're pretty aggressive in going to workplaces and red tagging or finding people that haven't gone through the permitting process. Do you expect the same for this summer? I
expect no less. I mean, if you have a big job running and you don't have a permit and you have a bunch of trucks out front, chances are pretty likely that one of my friends from the city will probably show up and ask you about your project. And if you can't provide the right paperwork and show them that you're doing it with permits, back to square one. And there's some hefty fines involved, and it can really put the brakes on any project.
Okay, so we've talked about permits, right? What else do you need to consider before you start a project?
Well, the scope of the job is always important. It's like some things you don't need permits for. I mean, if you're putting a shed in the backyard and it's under a certain size, you can do that. If it's in the county, there's rules with IPES scores and TRPA and all that type of thing. That applies to the city as well. So understanding how all those things work is it's a little bit of a challenge, but best thing to do if you're going to do a project, go get the permit or get your contractor to get the permit for you. Owners can do permits and then they can have a contractor listed and then they can get to work.
I'm having you help me on my project. You gave me a time window of a couple weeks out. What's a realistic time window from the time someone contacts you for you being able to start today?
Well, if it's a simple repair, I typically get it to them pretty much right away. If it's something that more involved, we need to go through and find out what the budget is. We need to do a timeline so we can get the work lined out properly, make sure the right subcontractors in place. I mean, I had projects that I started last summer that I'm just wrapping up now.
Stay tuned, more of the Tahoe Real Estate Show coming right up.